Hey there everyone, I got a bag of whole bean Peruvian coffee from Aldi that I'm going to review. It's 100% Arabica beans, medium roast, organic, single origin, and fair trade certified, so it checks all the coffee buzzwords and it costs less than $5 for 12 ounces. I'm not some coffee expert that can identify the subtle flavors in coffee or anything like that. I can, however, tell the difference between different roasts, and I know what I like. That's about it. So for this review, I'm comparing the Aldi coffee to coffee from Bean & Bean, a small New York chain. This is their downtown blend, which is also organic and a medium roast. It's not single origin, and I don't know if it's fair trade certified, but it seems like a good choice to compare to. It costs more than double the Aldi coffee. The Bean & Bean Downtown Blend is a very good coffee in my opinion. It has great flavor, and it doesn't have that harsh burnt taste of darker roast that you'll find in more popular coffee places. They have 4 locations in Chelsea, Wall Street, and Northern Boulevard in Little Neck, Queens, as well as one in Fort Lee, New Jersey. If you have one nearby, definitely check them out for your caffeine fix. When I picked up this bag, it was only a couple days after roasting, so it's nice and fresh, and they have a lot of options for food and things like that. I'm using 14 grams of coffee for each 8-ounce cup. This will give me a ratio of about 1 to 17, which is where I currently like my coffee. The first thing I noticed is the beans look very similar in color. The coffee from Bean & Bean stands out because they are very dull, while the Aldi beans are mostly dull but do have some oily spots on them. I'm guessing Bean & Bean roasts them at a lower temperature for a longer time, which helps keep the oils from escaping the beans. This is a good thing, but the Aldi beans aren't too bad. I'm going to start with the Bean & Bean coffee. I'm grinding the beans on a medium setting in my hand-cranked burr grinder. This is a small grinder I like to take camping with me. Unlike what it might look like, it's actually very easy to use, and it creates a very consistent grind. Just very hard to grind it while keeping it flat on the table to get a good shot. Normally I would just pour the coffee directly into the coffee maker, but I wanted to compare the ground beans this time. I'm grinding the Aldi beans in the same way with the same grind settings. This may seem like a time-consuming way to make coffee, and you'd be right. It doesn't take this much time to grind your own beans every morning. I added a few extra steps to inspect the coffee at different stages for this review. If you aren't watching, I'd pour and measure the beans directly in the grinder, which only takes about a minute. The ground coffee looked very similar, but there were some lighter specks in the Bean & Bean coffee. I'm not sure what that was. I'm using this Ambiano single-serve coffee maker, also from Aldi, to brew the coffee because it gives very consistent results. This will brew standard K-cups, but those aren't very appealing to me. I got this because it came with a filter basket that allows you to use ground coffee directly in it. Unlike those reusable K-cups, this basket holds a lot of coffee for proper ratios. The coffee maker has an 8-ounce and 16-ounce option, but if I put enough coffee for 16 ounces, the coffee starts to overflow the basket and creates a mess during brewing. For 8-ounce cups, though, it works great. The filter basket does let some fine sediment through. If I'm brewing coffee normally, I will add a regular paper filter to the basket and trim off some of the top. I haven't found single-serve filters that are big enough for this Ambiano coffee basket. If you happen to know of any, let me know in the comments. The paper filter reduces the sediment and makes it easier to clean. It does reduce the intensity of the coffee though, which is why I'm not using it here. The platform the glass is resting on can be moved further down to accommodate taller travel mugs. Since I'm using a small glass, I have it on the upper level to reduce splashing. I didn't put it back on properly, so the vibration combined with the tilt is making the glass slide to the side. The Bean & Bean coffee is going first. It has a great aroma while brewing and a nice rich color. It takes about 90 seconds to brew the coffee, which I'm speeding up now to save time. Once the brewing is complete, the grounds get dumped and the filter basket and holder get rinsed out. Aldi's organic Peruvian coffee gets brewed in the exact same way I brewed the Bean & Bean coffee, so I'm going to speed this up. Using these little cups to hold the coffee was nice for looking at the coffee, but not so good for getting the coffee in the filter basket. The catch cup in the small coffee grinder I use has a smaller opening, which makes pouring out the coffee into these small filter baskets easier. This is my first time trying any of Aldi's whole bean coffees, and so far I'm very optimistic. The roast looks very good, minus that little bit of oil on the beans, and the aroma has been great. As the coffee is brewing, the color and smells are very nice. I'm really looking forward to trying my first cup. Both glasses of coffee look very similar. There's more light behind the Aldi cup, which makes it look lighter. The key factor will be how it tastes. The bean and bean coffee tastes fantastic, as expected from drinking it these past few weeks. It's very smooth and has a rich coffee flavor. The beans are perfectly roasted and there isn't the slightest hint of that burnt flavor of dark roasted beans. The Aldi Organic Peru coffee doesn't taste too much different. There's a very slight difference in the smoothness and maybe not as rich in flavor. There's a very, very slight hint of over roasting. But if I were drinking this on its own, instead of comparing it side by side with the more expensive coffee, I don't think I could tell the difference. If I was comparing this to the type of ordinary pre-ground coffee that comes in a can that most people use, the Aldi coffee would be far ahead. Considering the Aldi coffee costs less than half, I'm definitely going to be getting more, and I'll try some of Aldi's other whole bean coffees. The bean and bean coffee, though, is definitely going to see its way in my cupboards again, though.